Why China wants Taiwan. Why would the two most powerful militaries on Earth risk everything over an island roughly the size of Switzerland? Right here, just 100 miles off the coast of mainland China, sits a place that could decide whether the 21st century ends in peace or catastrophe. This is Taiwan. And to understand why it matters so much, we need to go back to the moment it became a battlefield of ideas. Here's mainland China, a civilization stretching back thousands of years. And just across the Taiwan Strait, this narrow stretch of water separating two coastlines, sits an island that has spent the last 75 years living a completely different story. To understand why, we have to rewind to 1949. China had just torn itself apart in a brutal civil war. On one side, Mao Zedong and his communist forces. On the other, Chiang Kai-shek, leading the Republic of China. Mao won the mainland, Chiang lost it, and in one of the most consequential retreats in modern history, Chiang's forces fled across the strait toward Taipei, taking the government, the gold reserves, and the dream of a different China with them. That single moment created two governments, each claiming to be the true China. Beijing built the People's Republic of China on the mainland. Taipei kept the name Republic of China alive on the island. And ever since, Beijing has viewed Taiwan not as a separate country, but as a breakaway province, temporarily cut off, waiting to be reunified. That's the heart of China's claim. To the Chinese Communist Party, Taiwan isn't foreign territory. It's unfinished business from a civil war that, on paper, never officially ended. But here's where everything gets complicated. Taiwan doesn't see it that way at all. Over the following decades, this small island quietly transformed itself. Martial law ended. Free elections began. Today, Taiwan runs its own government, prints its own currency, controls its own military, and has never, not for a single day, been governed by the People's Republic of China. From Taipei's perspective, 23 million people have built a thriving democracy, and no outside government has the right to dictate their future. That's the core of the standoff. Beijing sees a rebellious province. Taipei sees an independent, functioning nation. And neither side is backing down. Now here's the problem. This isn't just a dispute between two governments. It's a flashpoint that pulls in the entire world, starting with the United States. After the split in 1949, America backed Chiang's government in Taipei for decades. But in 1979, Washington shifted its official recognition to Beijing, acknowledging the One China policy while still promising, under the Taiwan Relations Act, to help Taiwan defend itself. That created what analysts call strategic ambiguity. The US never says exactly what it would do if China invaded. That uncertainty was designed to make Beijing think twice. And this is why it matters far beyond one island. Look at the map of the Pacific, and you'll see something called the First Island Chain, a line running from Japan through Taiwan down through the Philippines. For decades, this chain has acted like a natural wall, containing China's navy inside its coastal waters. If Beijing ever took Taiwan, that wall would break. Chinese submarines and warships could push straight into the open Pacific, reshaping the entire military balance in Asia. Near Japan, near the Philippines, across the whole region, allies are watching Taiwan because they know its fate decides their own security. But it doesn't stop there. Here's the crazy part. Taiwan isn't just strategically important. It might be the single most economically important piece of land on the planet. Inside a handful of factories clustered around Hsinchu sits a company called TSMC, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. This one company produces over 90% of the world's most advanced computer chips, the tiny processors inside your phone, your car, fighter jets, and every major artificial intelligence system on Earth. If war ever cut off Taiwan's chip exports, global trade routes stretching from East Asia to Europe to North America would seize up almost overnight. That's why some analysts call Taiwan the most important 25 miles of real estate in the global economy. It's not just land China wants. Its leverage over the entire modern world. So how would China actually try to take it? Along China's eastern coastline, Beijing has spent the last 2 decades building the largest navy on the planet by ship count, along with missile systems specifically designed to hit ships and bases far out into the Pacific. Military planners describe several possible scenarios. A full amphibious invasion, sending troops across the strait, is the most extreme, and also the riskiest, since Taiwan's mountainous terrain and narrow landing beaches make a direct assault brutally difficult. A more likely first move, many experts believe, would be a blockade, sealing off Taiwan's ports and airspace, choking its economy without firing a single shot on land. And there's a third option, quieter but just as dangerous. Pressure campaigns, cyber attacks, and constant military incursions designed to slowly exhaust Taiwan without ever crossing the line into open war. Now watch what happens if any of that turns into a real conflict. The US Navy would likely respond from bases across the Pacific, from Japan, from Guam, potentially drawing in allied forces from Australia and beyond. China would be fighting close to home, with short supply lines and land-based missiles. America would be fighting far from home, but with a coalition of Pacific partners who see Taiwan as their own front line. Economists warn that even a short conflict could wipe trillions of dollars from the global economy, collapse semiconductor supply chains, and trigger the kind of trade shockwaves the world hasn't seen since the Second World War. And that's exactly why the whole world keeps its eyes fixed on this one narrow strait. It's not really about a single island anymore. It's about whether the rules that have governed the Pacific for 80 years still hold, or whether they're about to be rewritten by force. Every warship that moves near Taiwan, every fighter jet crossing its air defense line, every new factory built by TSMC, all of it is part of the same question. Who gets to decide the future of the 21st century? And whatever the answer turns out to be, it's being written right now, on the waters of the Taiwan Strait.